Security announced new security measures, including ramped up searches at U.S. airports. Joining us now is Republican Senator Tom Cotton. He's a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee and the Senate Armed Services Committee. He's also a veteran of the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Allison. Great to be on with you.
I want to ask you about these new security measures. We just heard a report from Renee Marsh about how airports are on heightened alert because there was this magazine, a terrorist magazine, that put out this call for these kitchen bombs, homemade bombs, that are undetectable by metal detectors at the airport, or even, we understand it, dogs. What does the TSA do about that?
Well, Allison, it's appropriate to be on a heightened terror alert right now and to be very sensitive about these kind of new weapons. But it really just goes to show, as the attack in Paris does last week, that we can't win the war on Islamic terror on defense. We have to be on offense. Remember, Charlie Hebdo magazine had been under Islamic terrorist threats. In fact, they had been attacked in the past. French authorities had protective measures in place, yet there was still a massacre of 12 journalists and then 4 Parisian Jews. That's why we have to be on the offense around the world and kill them over there before they have a chance to kill us here.
Well, let's talk about that, because just yesterday, Senator John McCain was on New Day, and he talked about what he thinks it will take to really put a dent in ISIS over there, and he talked about many more American soldiers on the ground. Listen to this.
We have to commit to really defeating ISIS and having a strategy to do so. That means more Americans on the ground, not large combat troops, but a lot more Americans on the ground to provide the capabilities that, frankly, the Iraqis don't have, and there's a total absence of in Syria.
Senator, do you agree that it will take many more Americans on the ground?
Allison, we're currently not winning our fight against the Islamic State. We've stopped some of their advances in Iraq, but again, you don't win wars on defense. You win them on the offense.
So what does that mean?
Well, we're going to need to increase the number of bombing missions that our Navy and Air Force are conducting every day. Those missions should be greatly enhanced if we have forward air controllers on the ground working with our local allies so they can sight in those bombs where they come in. We also are probably going to need to increase the presence of special operations forces as well, because those are great force multipliers, as we saw in the early days of Afghanistan. It didn't take tens of thousands of troops to topple the Taliban. It only took a few hundred American troops on the ground to help the Northern Alliance get organized and become an effective fighting force. But what we have to do is get on the offense. Quit just fighting to defend territory in Iraq, but take territory back and ultimately defeat the Islamic State in Syria, where they started.
So what exactly are you talking about? Sending in, you say, what, 500 more soldiers to Iraq? And how would you get them into Syria?
Well, Allison, that's a matter for the professional judgment of our generals and our admirals, and that's something that we would certainly want to hear. But it's going to take more force on the ground in Iraq and Syria to protect our citizens around the world and here at home. We just saw an attack in Paris. A similar attack like that could happen here in the United States. And Islamic terrorists are on the offense around the world. That's why you saw an attack like you did in Paris. Why Boko Haram, the affiliated group in Nigeria, just had its biggest massacre yet, and now former Taliban associates in Pakistan and Afghanistan are associating with the Islamic State. These terrorists want to kill us here in the United States. That's why we have to kill them there first.
You were part of a closed Senate intelligence briefing yesterday. Can you share with us if you were told about any credible threats here at home?
Allison, I can't share what we were briefed on in a classified meeting of the Senate Intelligence Committee. I can tell you that the threat around the world is as great as it's ever been, because al-Qaeda is on the march. They now control more territory than they did before the 9/11 attacks. This president has consistently minimized the threats of al-Qaeda. A year ago, he called the Islamic State the JV team. 2 years ago, he said that al-Qaeda was on the run, and in his re-election campaign said they were largely defeated. They're not largely defeated. They are on the offense, and that's where we have to get back to.
Just yesterday, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Richard Burr, told CNN's Jake Tapper that he believes it is likely that the brothers behind the Charlie Hebdo attack, the Quraishi brothers, did have contacts in the United States. Do you think that that's right?
Well, Senator Burr and I obviously are monitoring the situation very closely, and we're looking for all kinds of links, not just between the brothers that conducted the Charlie Hebdo massacre and Americans, but also with the terrorists in Al-Qaeda in Yemen, who just this morning claimed responsibility for these attacks, just as they were responsible for the Christmas bomber 5 years ago. Those kinds of attacks on American soil are likely if we don't get back on offense all around the world against Islamist terrorists.
Are you saying it's time to send U.S. troops into Yemen?
Well, we just sent U.S. troops into Yemen in December to try to conduct a hostage rescue that unfortunately didn't work. We have to be willing to send troops or drones or any other asset of national power to kill terrorists or capture them wherever they are if they pose a threat to American citizens and our interests around the world.
All right, Senator Tom Cotton, thanks so much for joining us with your perspective on New Day.
Thank you.